hand if you love college sports, football, basketball. I, like millions of Americans, love college sports, the game day experience, cheering on your favorite team to victory. According to Lee Finnegan, who is the editor of the Huffington Post College Edition, in her article, The Most Profitable Football Teams, which was published on December 30th, 2010, the University of Texas football program brings in a revenue of $93 million and a net profit of over $68 million. Obviously, the college sports is a cash cow. Teams take it very seriously, and teams will do really whatever it takes to get the best athletes to come to their campus. Brett McMurphy, who's a Pulitzer Prize nominee and a writer for CBS Sports, wrote an article called Major NCAA Violations on July 11th, 2011, and he quotes, "An NCAA major violation provides extensive recruiting or competitive advantage. These violations are punished, both the team is punished and the individual that went through the process is punished." McMurphy also wrote an article called Teams That Cheat, and it states that in the last 49 football seasons, there's been at least one major violation in each of those seasons. So, NCAA recruiting violations are not something that's going to stop overnight. It's a very long process. It's going to be very difficult to stop it. I've personally seen the harshness and the stress that comes through recruiting. As one of the kids I played with in high school is Barry James Sanders, son of legendary OSU tailback Barry Sanders. And as all of us are here, friends and family of John, who is an aspiring collegiate athlete, I think it's smart for us to educate ourselves on the point of how to recruit the fair way, the right way. John is going to be, he's a very solid basketball player. He's going to the Adidas Phenom Camp, which is the top 150 players in the nation. Playing sports in college is a legitimate opportunity for him, and it's something that we need to educate ourselves on. Like I said, I've known Barry for a long time. I saw the kind of behind the scenes, not so glorious side of recruiting. I actually was with Barry when he visited Florida State University last year when they played OU. Got to go, to the locker room and see all that. Luckily for Barry, since he had such good guidance from his father, the Heritage Hall coaching family, his friends, he really got, the right direction on how to recruit the right way, the fair way. He did tell me that it was very stressful recruiting fairly because, if a coach is willing to recruit you in an illegal way, they're expecting you to take it and commit the same crime. He said one of the worst things about recruiting was that, Barry has a Facebook and a Twitter, and when he decided, I'm going to cut so-and-so team off my list, I'm not interested in going there, and if news got out about that, fans from that school would, Facebook message him, tweet at him, use social networking, and almost threatening to him. And he said that was very hard, because people he didn't know, he was getting, hundreds of messages ripping into him, and they had no idea about, his thought process. After talking to Barry, I called my old high school football coach, Coach Andy Bogert, who coaches at Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma City. Coach Bogert's won 3 state titles. He's coached a handful of very successful, highly recruited athletes, including Wes Welker, who is playing for the Patriots right now, Barry Sanders, and then Sterling Shepard, who is now playing wideout for the University of Oklahoma. So Coach Bogert has seen all the tricks of the trade, all the ways that the rules could be bent and broken. He said one of the most common ones is to hang up the phone, during a dead period, which is a period that coaches cannot reach out to recruits, but the recruits can reach to the coaches. They would call the recruit and hang up immediately, so then the recruit would see they had a missed call and call back, and that way they're technically initiating a conversation. Another one that actually happened at Heritage is the just say hi rule, and if it is a dead period and a coach just so happens to be crossing paths with a athlete that they're recruiting, they can exchange a few words and say hello, but that's about the extent of it. But this happened with Nick Saban, the coach from Alabama, was just so happened to be at Heritage Hall. It just so happened to be Barry's lunch break, and they just so happened to cross paths. You can obviously see there's a lot of gray area in that the rules can kind of be, how you interpret it can be manipulated. Coach Bogert ended the conversation with saying how the recruitment stage is starting at such a younger age. It's, as surprising as it is, John, who's about to be a 7th grader, the NCAA deems him as a prospect. But Withers from the Seattle Times wrote the article, "Is it too late to stop early commitments?" And it's an article about Tate Martell, who's going to be an 8th grader in Washington, and he already verbally committed to the University of Washington to play quarterback, play football. Obviously, I think that's a very bad idea. The college selection process is one that should be taken very seriously. You should spend a lot of time looking at all the what matches up with you as a person with your degree and all that. So making that decision as an 8th grader probably isn't the best idea. A lot of people say, why would a kid, verbally commit that young? Well, I mean, John, if you got a scholarship offer from the University of Kansas today, would you take it?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's exactly, for 7th graders or 8th graders, if they get a scholarship offer, those collegiate athletes seem almost superhuman, and why would they not want to join them, and get the opportunity to wear that jersey? According to Chris Chase, who's a writer for Rivals.com, he published an article on January 16, 2012, which says 7th graders are deemed as recruits now. So as you can see from my visual aid, that as 7th grade you're deemed a prospect, so that you can be contacted by coaches. They can text you, and that's something that's very controversial right now. There's no limit on texting, so they can be texted. And as you can see, I got my first cell phone after 7th grade. So if that kind of puts it in comparison how young 7th grade is to be getting texts from coaches, that's a pretty unfair advantage, I feel like. There's a lot of ways we can help this for John. We can mentor him, even though it's John's selection process. We can all be a part of it, making sure he's looking at the right colleges, taking his time, not verbally committing early. Most importantly, for John's sake, being a collegiate athlete is an awesome opportunity, but it's a student athlete. Student comes first. He needs to stay applied in the classroom. Make sure even though he gets a scholarship offer as an 8th grader, he hasn't even taken his ACT. So that's something that he needs to make sure he stays motivated in school and whatnot. College sports is a great opportunity. I hope the best. I think it's something that everybody gets a lot of pleasure from. Athletes, fans, coaches alike. But it's got to be done the fair and the right way. Thank you for listening.
How long was